Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 24th of May. I almost said Monday then, so it's Monday the 24th of May. So before we look at the technicals, quick look at the fundamentals or the risk being released today. Well, there is a sort of risk because we've got the Swiss, most of Europe, the French, the Germans, all on bank holidays. We've got Canada having a bank holiday today later on. So the data the movement may be thinner, but doesn't mean to say there won't be any movement. And then we've got 1:05 p.m. Bank of Japan governor speaking. Not so worried about that, but I am interested in that we got Bailey, Bank of England Governor Bailey speaking from 3:30. Now there will be other members testifying. I don't know if it actually starts at 3:30 for the whole lot. But so we do get a bit of volatility kicking around there, so just watch out for later at least when he's testifying, when questions are starting to be asked by the parliamentary committees. Sometimes they may just come up with something a little bit more. So there we are. That's to watch for later, but really quite a thin morning in terms of news because there isn't any of significance. So let's get on and look at the technicals. Well, the technicals, just looking here with green, red. Well, it must be a green day today, surely. I'm joking there. We'll see what comes out of this. It has held up effectively over those last 4 days. We do actually have a bit of a range sitting there between that 121.60ish area through to 122.40. So that's that range that sits there at the moment. It's rather mixed. We'll see what develops from it. It's up to its daily pivot already. It's still below its key moving averages here, but it could. I mean, the problem with moving averages become a bit sort of choppy like this, and they're sort of centralized, is they seem to have a little bit less effect, and we could just see price just running back through these up to the highs there. So nothing conclusive there. We'll wait and see. A break of the lows there. Sorry, I'll come back to that 60-minute chart for a moment. The break of the lows here could see us rolling over. So that's what I'm looking at on that picture. But at the moment, the bounce is certainly happening there. The pound, a bit of divergence, double divergence across the highs here on the dailies. We're just looking. I'm just looking coming down the time frames. Then it's bounced nicely off its trend line early hours of this morning, bouncing from that at the moment. Whether Bailey & Co can create some more buzz into this, we'll see. Hasn't yet come back to its daily pivot. A little bit softer this morning, first thing. And again, we've got this sort of trend line kick in. A break of that may suggest further downside, or at least back to the lows there. So not terribly conclusive. We'll see post 8 o'clock how this picks up, and if it picks up. And again, it's a bit rangy as it sits there, but in a rising, more of a rising range that's sitting through that. Okay, dollar yen. What we got here? Dollar yen trying to break down a little bit here. We've sort of we had that double top coming in week before last actually, and it rolled through, held up last week, and it just does look like it could come off back towards that 108.36, maybe even a little bit more. You look at the shorter time frames, quite messy around the major news last week, but it certainly still looks like it's got further downside at this stage technically. Very, as I say, very messy, very long periods of hardly any movement at all, consolidation that sits through this, but there are periods of trend amongst it all. Consolidation here, and then a sort of a single bar, bit more of a single bar going through here. Obviously the consolidation leading in from Friday through to this morning, early hours this morning, but seems to be continuing to get stronger at this stage. No real targets or entries on these at the moment. They're just not there. Aussie dollar chop continues here on a daily basis. Intraday, yes, it's a bit rangy and there may be opportunities, but I'm keeping away from that at the moment. Canadian dollar, I like this much better. I like the short-term flags that are coming into this play, or playing this, I should say. Movements just like this are fine, and there's the shorter ones that were occurred on Friday, just nice movements in a bigger trend downwards. We're just seeing what's happening here. It may even just break a bit earlier this morning and roll back towards Friday's lows there. So maybe some more potential in the currency I least like normally, or least trade, but it looks like it could be there. Side of that then, let's have a look at the S&Ps. S&P wise, well, it sort of sold off, pulled up. It's looking like it's running in towards a bit of a sort of a Gartley type pattern. This A, B and a C correction coming through here. Whether this is going to push on beyond the highs there, yeah, it's anyone's guess, to be fair. Trend wise, it's just again, this is a market that's moved overnight back to the trend and found a bit of a bounce. It does have the weekly pivot sitting below if it does break down, so it's something to watch for if it starts breaking off there. But at the moment it's just sitting around its daily pivot, looking like it could have further upside. So nothing immediate, but it does again. All things point at the moment to a slightly weaker dollar and more positivity through these markets. Weaker dollar should see a stronger gold, and well, daily wise, we've seen this stronger gold slowed up towards the end of last week, got very rangy. That big day just sort of sitting in there, and its prices literally sat within that range of that big day. A breakout of the highs of 118.89 would be a bit more bullish. We do have the weekly pivot below. It could just come back, break this little short-term trend line on here, the 4-hourly trend line, and still bounce off that and stay bullish effectively in the main trend there. So we've got the higher, see this market higher lows coming through, not necessarily higher highs all the way. Part of the way, it's quite messy when you start coming down the time frames a bit on that, and it's probably best traded from the upper time frames. Looking at oil. Oil had a bit of a mixed week last week. We saw with the Iranian talks, the markets were putting the softening of the oil price down to that. Although Friday it seemed to have caught a bounce. Hadn't seen anything too much mentioned on it on Friday, but perhaps the talks have fallen apart a little bit. But for now, it's pushing up there. But again, this could be partially just down to a weaker dollar. It's a little bit more consolidated as we look at it this morning, but well, it's broken its downward trend there for sure at the moment and put a higher low in, so it's maybe more upside to come from that in the near term anyway. Right, okay, that's oil. Looking aside of that then, let's have a quick look at the cryptos here. So cryptos this morning, where are we sitting on Bitcoin then? Well, it's had a weekend of an unhappy weekend there, really, real terms. We're just seeing a bit of sell-off coming through Bitcoin. Looking at other markets, Ethereum's catching a little bit of a bounce this morning, but was down to 1800 during the weekend there, and Ripple also right the way down back to about 65 cents there. On Ripple, so the market's just not convincing at the moment, and probably best just waited until, if you're looking to get back in or get into positions on these, you might be averaging into these positions, fine, but it might be that you just wait until it gives more of a confirmed turn. Okay, anyway, that's it for me. I'm going to call it a day. I wish you all a great week ahead, and of course a great day today. I'll be back in the morning. Bye for now.